Hello everybody and welcome to yet another edition of Between Two Simulators, and we're here at IMSH 2025, 25 years of IMSH, and we've been joined by Heather Tuttle, the Chief Nursing Officer of AIBODY. Thank you for coming along, Heather. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Jeff, for having me. I'm honored.
Yeah, well, it's good to have you here. So we've spoken to so many people, but somebody in your sector, your type of simulation that you're providing here, it's quite unique, and so it's great to talk to you. I'm going to ask you a few questions, okay?
Absolutely.
But I want to find out a little bit more about you.
Yeah.
Okay. You are a clinician. You're qualified. Okay.
I am.
So what made you do the step from being a clinician and going into simulation?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and particularly my journey post what I call my traditional clinical career is really quite unusual. And a lot of people ask me, how and why, and I think, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm kind of one of the statistics that we're all here to talk about today. My background is in emergency and trauma nursing, so I've been a registered nurse for over 20 years. I carry dual certifications in emergency and trauma. And about 15 years into my career, I was really perplexed about what I was going to do next. They'd always said, you can do all these things, but at the time I was truly suffering from clinician burnout. Yeah. And this was prior to COVID. We know COVID has really exacerbated that. Yeah. And I really happened onto a job posting that was looking for somebody with my clinical acumen, but in the private sector in healthcare education for online learning management systems. And I applied for the job. I thought, they need a program manager. I've managed programs. I didn't know anything about product. Because when I went to college, that wasn't a thing. And I had a wonderful mentor who was also a clinician, who had a very kind of unicorn set of skills, and saw how somebody with that many years of skills in tertiary academic setting, how that translates over into product management and product marketing. And so that's where my journey started. And I thought, I'll do this for a year or two, and I'll be ready to go back. I'll be ready to go to the bedside. And honestly, I've fallen in love with it. I love being able to develop products and solutions that are going to kind of remedy that statistical situation that we know that our clinicians are suffering from right now. Yeah. How do we develop solutions that are going to really develop the next generation of our workforce? Yeah,
I've been here to come up a couple of times over the past couple of days. The workforce burnout, yes. The lack of people going into yes. healthcare and healthcare education, simply because pay conditions, etc., etc. Yes. So it's really, really good that somebody's gone the other way to try and improve that.
Absolutely.
So why AIBODY? Why you could be of use to any of the companies here, but why AIBODY in particular?
And so AIBODY was introduced to me about 4 years ago when I was in another role at a company, and I was looking for innovative solutions to be able to bring advanced clinical education into asynchronous learning. And I had never seen anything like it before. The technology blew me away. AIBODY essentially is a digital physiology engine that started like a lot of this tech. It started as a medical research project essentially, and can we do these things? Can we introduce computer programming into medical education? And very quickly, they realized we've got something here. And as it grew and grew, and they developed a complete platform, and when it was introduced to me, my mind was blown. It was something that I could see so many different educational use cases across so many different allied health professions, and I wanted to be a part of it. But in addition to the technology, it's the team. the team at AIBODY has been an absolute beautiful experience as a clinician to work with medical innovators that are really there and have a passion for the mission.
Yeah, and I can sort of empathise with that, because coming from a clinical background and working in a hospital with a close-knit team who live and die together.
That's right.
And then when you go out of that and then go into a commercial world, sometimes you don't get that sort of, that sort of feeling back again, because
it's true.
It's not a life and death situation. So it's really good to hear that you've moved in and you found a team around you, that's surrounding you, that's what you want them to be, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So passionate about their work.
Yeah, that's great. So let's learn a little bit more about the company. So the marketing video is amazing. It's like, it's space age science fiction movie. Looks amazing. Give us a brief history of AIBODY and where it all started.
So it started again, like I said before, as an idea. Can we, as medical educators, introduce computer programming? And at the time, do we have the ability to create a digital simulation that is truly lifelike, that can truly propagate, physiologic principles in real time? And so initially they set out to understand what that would look like, and they determined that to really develop a lifelike, realistic, real-time model, they had to start from the absolute foundation. And so it started with understanding all of the subcellular biochemical reactions that would be required to create one single human cell. But then why start with one cell? Can we differentiate those cells? Yes, we can. Can we demonstrate tissue generation? Yes, we can. Organ situations. And then can we demonstrate and innervate the chemical pathways that allow for integration between those organ systems? And so when you look at the comprehensive models that we have now that are definitive in nature, they are not driven by artificial intelligence. There's approximately 132,000 individual parameters which have the ability to be manipulated with and experimented with at the most minute subcellular level to demonstrate their effects on real-time physiologic homeostasis.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah,
it is mind-blowing, right?
Mind-blowing. and so who are you aiming this product for? Who's your audience here?
Yeah, so because physiology is applicable across all allied health sciences, right? No matter what your level of training or your scope of practice, it's being able to create a tool that allows those individuals to utilize that platform. And so we're really looking to bring this into a multitude of allied health education programs, higher education, and then again, there's tremendous synergy in continuing medical education and professional development. Because healthcare is progressing at such a high rate of evolution. Just-in-time education is crucial, and being able to demonstrate that peer-reviewed evidence-based practice down to those fundamental physiologic principles, that's where we come in. So, whether you are in radiology school or in medical school, we have the ability to work with you by giving you a tool for your toolbox.
So basically, everybody in allied healthcare, whatever they're doing, AIBODY has something for them, or can be developed for them.
That's right. Our practice is based on human physiology and the pathology of those principles, no matter what your specialty or subspecialty is.
Wow, that's amazing. And so give us more about Luke. So who is Luke? What is he? Tell us all about him.
Well, Luke.
Why is he called Luke?
Well, we have Luke and we have Laura.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. Fans of General Hospital. Luke is essentially the digital representation or manifestation of those cumulative 132,000 principles and properties that are working in the background. He gives you a visual representation to tie that core real-time physiology so that you can actually see and apprise the effects and the interventions. And so when you access our platform, you wake Luke up from a brand new state, and he is essentially existing at a basal metabolic rate, and you have the ability to feed him or hydrate him or move him or introduce a number of pathologies to him. But it's not just a him. We have the ability of over 40 different adult avatars of multiple ethnicities and genders. But Luke really is that visual representation of the cumulative physiology of the human body. Yeah,
so with AIBODY, I mean, the clear thing that I get from it, that the algorithms are dynamic. You can, an intervention will do something, and so it's like a real person, but computer-based, really. Yeah,
so a point of clarification. So when I talk about our models, our engine, those are not driven by artificial intelligence. That is based on peer-reviewed, evidence-based scientific literature, and is hard-coded into computer programming language. So that modeling is as dynamic as your educator's, intuition to experiment. But then we have introduced artificial intelligence in a way as a utilitarian tool to then help that educator put those principles in front of their students using natural language processing and a constrained large language model to help you as an educator develop scenarios so that your students can interact with them in a very meaningful way.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that you've sort of defined a place for AI. You haven't let it take over completely, which brings me to my next question. Where do you think AI will stop in healthcare education?
Oh, I don't think AI will stop. Pandora's box is open. There's no going back. It started with Star Trek, in the 60s and 70s, and now we've manifested what we envisioned in science fiction decades ago. And so there's no going back. We're only going to go forward, and it will always be, this continual evolution of iteration and improvement. As I said, healthcare is evolving at this exponentially rapid rate, year after year, faster and faster. And without artificial intelligence, I fear that we as humans might not be able to keep up, in the coming decades.
No, I agree with that. It's probably, when people talk about AI, where's it going to end? How's it going to improve? Well, ask AI. AI will tell you, and that's it, because it's going to continually improve itself.
That's right.
We've got a few general questions that we're asking people, and I'm really interested to find your views, and so we can see everybody's views at the end of it and come to some sort of amateurish consensus.
Absolutely.
Okay. What's your view on regulation in healthcare simulation and healthcare education overall? And let's put some context on that. We're in an environment where all of the tools you use as a nurse, or all the tools that are used as a doctor, pharmaceuticals, medical devices, everything around it, and actually the qualification itself to practice that is highly regulated.
Absolutely.
What about healthcare simulation?
Yeah, so when I think about it as a clinical educator, as a clinical administrator, my regulation and the regulation that drives me as a clinician comes from my scope of practice. It comes from my licensing body. I'm licensed by the North Carolina Board of Nursing, and different professional practice organizations. And so when I think about regulation, it's more about the regulation coming from the evidence of giving your basis to practice, right? And that may be a controversial thought. You know, we see a lot of overarching government regulation and varying perspectives on that. But I think as clinicians, every clinician in this room can agree that our regulation comes from the very central basis that we want to do no harm to our patients. And so we participate in research, we participate in replicable science. And then that governs the policies and procedures that we put in place, whether at a federal level, a state level, a local level, a licensing level. And so when I think about education, I think the regulation on it it needs to take that same approach. It can't be so rigid and definitive because we don't have the same scopes of practice. So I know what I'm allowed to do legally and ethically. So that regulation drives how I develop clinical education and disseminate it.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you know, my personal opinion is regulation, there is a place for it, but it does need to be quite loose, and it doesn't need to stifle innovation.
Exactly.
A question that I should have asked earlier on when we were talking about you know, the product itself is what about the rest of the world? You know, we're in America at the moment. There are different protocols around the rest of the world, different languages. What's your plan for world domination?
Oh, okay. I want to conquer it all.
All of it. Everything.
All of it.
Just do it. World domination.
Well, so physiology doesn't care where you're from. Your physiology, my physiology, her physiology, it's the same, and we're all from very different places. The great thing about introducing a constrained language model is internationalization is quite easy. Large language models are quite good at that. I mean, that's what they're for. Understanding, interpreting, and digesting human language. And so, you know, being able to disseminate a platform across multiple countries really comes down to just ensuring that our language models, you know, are appropriate for the demographic in which it's being pushed to.
Absolutely. And to though we know from a commercial point of view, the US is the biggest market out there. The rest of the world is quite a diverse market.
Exactly.
And everybody's got something to say. And I'm sure that everybody would like to at least have a look at AIBODY. So this is your opportunity now to give a shameless plug. A shameless plug about AIBODY. Why should people come and visit your booth? Why should people go to the website? And tell us what's coming that's new, if you haven't got anything to tell us. Now's the opportunity.
So we are located in booth 1211 over near the Innovation Theater, and we would love to have you stop by and give a detailed tour. Myself, Dr. Smith, and MM White are staff in the booth, and we're giving lots of demonstrations. You can come by our website at www.aibody.io and check out our videos online that you referenced earlier.
Space Age.
And again, you can reach me here in the United States at heather.tuttle, that's Tuttle, at AIBODY.io, and I would love to get in touch with you and give you more information.
Fantastic, brilliant. So what we'll do is we'll try and put some of those links in the bottom of the post as well.
And subscribe.
Pick up the phone, call Heather, and let's get AIBODY out there. We're talking about
love it.
Fantastic. Thank you, Heather, for joining us between two simulators. I hope you have a great rest of IMSH and travel safely home.
Thank you, Jeff. This has been a wonderful opportunity, and I hope everybody has a wonderful show. We look forward to connecting after the event.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.